In the shadows of a past we've known, two souls lost, but we found our way home. Through the whispers of doubt we learned to stand, with a love so bright we've walked hand in hand. You cracked the walls with your laughter so free. I'm the strength in the storms, we're a symphony. With every step we rise above the pain, breaking generational chains. We're born again. We're the fire lighting up the night. Together we shine. It's our hearts in flight. With notes to self, we're writing our song. In this world of chaos, we know where we belong. Oh, we're changing lives, breaking through the fear. A power couple, together we're here. From the ashes of yesterday, we draw our strength. With courage as our armor, we'll go any length. You remind me of the light when the darkness creeps. In your eyes there's a promise, a love that deeply keeps. No more chains can bind us, we've learned to heal. In the depths of our hearts lies the power we feel. We're shining the truth, letting the world see. Together, forever, just you and me. We're the fire, lighting up the night. Together we shine, it's our hearts in flight. With notes to self, we're writing our song. In this world of chaos, we know where we belong. Oh, we're changing lives, breaking through the fear. A power couple, together we're here. Through the storms we've weathered, we've lost and we've won. Every tear, every laugh has brought us to one. In a world full of shadows, we'll light up the street. With every story shared, we make broken hearts beat. We're the fire, lighting up the night. Together we shine, it's our hearts in flight. With notes to self, we're writing our song. In this world of chaos, we know where we belong. Oh, we're changing lives, breaking through the fear. A power couple, together we're here.
Hey everyone.
Hello,
Welcome.
guys. Oregon in the house. Welcome. China Clay, welcome.
We decided just
Haggard
to do a quick
Reds.
surprise live, and I know Wednesdays are usually our best days to do lives, so we had some surprise guests at our house today, so we weren't sure if we were even going to be able to go live, but here we are. Yay. So we have a baseball game in a little bit, so we're just going to talk for a little bit and catch up with everyone, see how everyone's doing, kind of get our we just finished our wrapping up of Trust Me, The False Prophet on Netflix. So we had a couple things we wanted to say about that. And it looks like we've got Oregon in the house and we've got China Clay. Thank you. We have been busy. We've been trying to catch up and get some sorry, I just had a meeting pop up on my phone. It's a mandatory meeting in 10 minutes.
You always have those.
I know. I guess I'm not doing that one. Whoops.
Afternoon.
Yeah, I was just scrolling through Netflix thinking there's nothing to watch and then checked YouTube quick in case you were all going live. Yeah, here we are. We'll probably go live for about an hour. Yeah, let's see.
Yeah, we're shout out happy birthday to
our tech support.
She's having a birthday today. So
yeah. Without her, we would not even have our channel. She is our niece who moved in with us a couple of years ago. And I think this is the first birthday that we've actually been able to have with her because we've been out of town or she's been out of town for her birthday. So we told her, thank you so much without her, we wouldn't even have a channel. She's the one who's helped us get everything set up. Helped us bought us our desk for Christmas and helped us get all of so happy birthday, Key. Yeah, it says that documentary was a hard one to watch. It was for us too. And Corey had like this long list of jokes he was going to tell because he's like, this is just getting way too dark and way too heavy. And didn't tell any of them, huh?
I didn't. It was hard to joke about that dark of a subject. So
yeah,
I was just like trying to get over it. Let's get back to Cody and Robin so I can make fun of them. And then your first ex, let's make fun of him. So some light humor about polygamy instead of all the dark humor. And that's the problem is polygamy has a lot of dark humor. But I am Corey, Mel's husband.
I'm a recovering mocker of all things religion. Yeah, polygamy does have a lot of really dark sides that it is easier to make fun of people like Robin and Cody who put themselves out there to be made fun of pretty much. But there's a lot of people who are true victims, who are true in this environment, in this religion. And it's harder to make jokes about that. Yeah.
It's more comical when I know they're being raised in it, and it's comical that they chose that line of marriage, but when there's no choice in the matter and you're basically coerced, making fun of prophets or wannabe prophets, that's good, but all the underage stuff and all that stuff is sick and wrong. So I couldn't make fun of it as much as I wanted to. So
you're right.
So what is everybody doing today?
It says, hello, great to finally catch a live. Yay. Lewis Weekly says, finally catching a live. We are going to try to go live more on Wednesdays just because they are easiest for us. And truthfully, that's when the most of our people on our channel are online. It was very difficult to watch and is very important to watch for the record. Dark humor saves lives.
Yeah.
I said to Corey as we were getting ready to start, I'm like, do you have any jokes? He's like, I don't, but they're coming to me right now. It's going to be fun. We're going to tell a lot of jokes. I'm like, oh gosh, here we go. Somebody says it's still hard for me to believe that Janelle chose polygamy. I don't understand why a full-grown adult would make the decision to live this way. I really don't. And then would choose to raise their children this way. I don't understand that myself. But again, I chose to get out when my little girl was 2, but then I did go back. I did go back when she was 4 and stayed until she was 6. And so the conditioning is deep and it's strong. And so I definitely can understand some of that.
Yeah. Psychology wise, none of my parents were raised this way, but they all chose it. I think because it's
your dad was
communal.
Mormon.
He became Mormon, and then kept doing it. But I think it was the 60s and 70s. They were looking for a communal type of living.
Right.
preparation for the end of the world and pretty excited about it, probably for a decade, and then the world didn't come to an end. And so some of them hung in there for a while, trying to make it work.
Right.
The biggest and then some of them hung into the end, even after 20 end of the world predictions that never came true. So,
right.
I mean, it did come through for some prophets. They all kind of eventually ended, and I guess, but the whole world didn't come to an end. Just their existence in it came to an end eventually. So.
Yeah, and I know that Sister Wives is starting to come back up again. Somebody just says, I think Janelle fancied Cody like crazy and didn't fully understand what the lifestyle was really like. I would agree with that.
Unfortunately, most of them, even getting into it, don't actually understand a lot of the things that I had questions for my parents, and they're like, you have to live it to understand it. So then you guys don't even understand it. You can't explain it to me. And no, things will be added upon. You will, once you get married, you're going to get some information, and you'll go through the temple and get some information. But we're not going to teach you all the deep parts of it until you're ready for it. And so then you'll have to have 3 wives to understand how to balance jealousy and all that stuff. And I'm like, I'm a kid living in your house. You guys aren't doing that great of a job balancing jealousy. So yeah, it's interesting to listen to them.
One of my favorite things that has been coming up a lot lately for me in my family life and like siblings and stuff like that is and I'm not saying that this is just polygamy, but this is just coming up a lot, is I don't like who I am when I'm around that person. That person makes me become jealous, or that person makes me become angry, or that person there's a lot of blaming language going on, victim-y language going on right now, especially in like my family circles. There's a lot of that going on. I don't like the kind of person I am when I'm around. That relationship's too toxic for me, and I don't like who I am when I'm around them. Okay, then here's a good idea. Then why don't you change? Why don't you become better instead of trying to blame being around that person as part of the toxicity? And I think that's really common in plural marriage, because the ugliest parts of people come out in public. In plural marriage, the ugly parts of people come out. Parts of people that they don't even know exists inside of them comes out in plural marriage. Haggard Renz says, feeling like a part of something when you're alone can be a powerful drug. It truly can. Has Maslow's hierarchy of needs. If you've ever read that, it's a chart. You can Google it, and it will tell you like there's different basic levels of needs, and basic is like shelter, food, water. And then I think it's number 2 is the sense of belonging is our second highest need that we have. After your basic fundamental shelter, food, water is met, the sense of belonging and community is number 2. So it really is. And I think back in the 60s and 70s, when cults became such a big thing across the United States, I think people were just looking for community. And I think that's how a lot of our parents got involved. And unfortunately, I think a lot of the women are smitten by the men, by certain men. And that's why they choose to live this way too. They choose to live this way because they're in love with this man who already has a wife, who already has whatever. And so this makes it an easier way for them to get married.
Well, I think my parents were actually drawn, speaking with them, to the communal living, to the united order, where we were all working together for a common good. It was an amazing it was a town where different people were being invited in to basically live off the grid. They created their own electricity from some of the rivers that came down. They created that whole town for probably
what town?
Pinesdale.
Oh, Pinesdale. Sorry.
Yeah.
I missed it. Sorry.
For Pinesdale, probably for about 10 to 12 years, everybody was building up the town in the common good. And it wasn't until their charismatic leader got excommunicated from the group for having and
underage wives.
Yeah, a lot of them.
Wives.
And so he was actually excommunicated, which caused the whole United Order to split into factions. And it really did. It split into about 3 or 4 factions up there where nobody was working together as a community. They're all working for themselves, even though they're living on the property. There were some people that were still donating to the bishop's storehouse, doing things like that. But there were other people that are just like, nope, because the community was eating together, they were working together. We as kids were always required to go, as early as I could remember, go work projects and our farms and get everything going. And then it all fell apart, and the one charismatic leader was murdered. The second charismatic leader was excommunicated, and the third one kind of just disassembled he wasn't in support of the United Order up there, and so everything kind of changed at that point.
Yeah. Let's see. Maybe not being raised. Carly says, maybe not being raised in it, you don't see some of the darker sides right away.
Yeah.
If you are naive, young, or wrapped up in the religious dogma of needing it for salvation, you see the bright, shiny parts of it.
And you're only really allowed to see especially when
well, just like on Sister Wives, you're only allowed to see the bright, shiny parts of it.
When the women were coming in and being drawn into the community, they were showing the bright, shiny parts of it, trying to get them in. A lot of men were trying to get them into their families. I remember being young, and there were people being, this was in the 70s. There were a lot of women that were coming into the community for some reason, and there were 10 different families trying to
woo these women,
get them in. My dad's fourth wife, there were council members that were trying to win her over,
right,
and bring her in. And so Dad agreed to bring her and her stepmother in at the same time.
Okay, and that's the part I struggle with, is these men who marry these mother-daughter combos. Like, that is just so disgusting to me. And I try not to be that judgmental about it, but come on, this is like, I cannot having sex with the same guy that my mom is. I'm just not doing it. I just think it's so horrible.
To be totally honest with you, I don't know, and I don't even want to think about it, but I don't think they did. We as young children, because I had 3 older brothers that came in with that family, we all called her grandma. And so she was a grandmother figure and so my dad never had kids with her. The fourth wife, he had 3 more kids with, but that grandmother, he never did. I think she was being sealed to him so that she could get into the kingdom of heaven.
And we wondered that too, watching the Netflix series, because there's a couple older women in there, a couple gray-haired women, and he doesn't really ever converse with them. He doesn't talk to them. They're just like, and then when the girls are being taken away, the little girls are like, mom, they're crying for their mom. And I'm like, this is so wrong on so many levels. And Tom Green had a wife and a daughter combo who had babies together on the same day. And that whole story was just horrible.
And Sam just didn't have the intellectual ability, I think, to communicate with the older wives.
Right.
And so he couldn't speak on a grown-up level. He had to speak to the minute he had to speak, I feel like in a grown-up, he was taking the position of chastising them, chastising the men. That's the only time.
God is
that's the only time that, and I don't think he could have an intellectual conversation with them. So they just didn't speak with him. They were there to build up the kingdom, and probably they're marrying a prophet, they were getting into heaven. They got their ticket stamped to get into heaven. So
right.
it was all good
No,
for
I was
them.
just trying to get that comment and it jumped. I also think Luke Tate says, thank you for the comment. Says, I also think folks can struggle to let go because they consciously choose to convert. Similar to what you've said about people attesting, so they don't want to believe that they chose wrong or see the truth. And I absolutely agree with that, because you testified about this, you converted, you made covenants and promises, and now your whole life is like a lie. That's hard for anyone to come to terms with, not just in high demand religions. I mean, think about it. Think about the Holocaust. Think about how many people were so 100% convicted in what they were doing, and then only to find out later how wrong they were. I feel like this is not just a high demand religion thing. This is,
well, they couldn't even admit it. It's kind of interesting because Moroni says we're either damned right or damned wrong. But either way, and so that's the choice. And if we're damned wrong, then we're not getting to heaven. We're not. So we'd rather choose to be damned right, and hopefully be forgiven of that we were right and the choices were right, and at the end we can get into heaven. And so it's mind fuckery warped. And so I bring up dogmas that we were raised with, current prophets, that, hey, these are what they're teaching now that's different from and those of my family that are still in it really only have a testimony of the original charismatic prophet that had died a martyr. And so if they can stick it out to the end, he died a martyr. He's going to take them to heaven.
Interesting. So, there's a lot of podcasts that are coming out very recently about Rulon Allred and some rituals that he was supposedly involved in. I know nothing about some of these, but these are some pretty severe accusations that are coming out on some of these podcasts. And there's some pretty severe, there's also a TikTok girl who's going around and she's talking about them too. And again, unfortunately, most people, in my experience, now this might not be for everyone, but in my experience, most people are converted because of a man, not necessarily because of the religion. Most people that I know were converted due to Rulon Allred, not necessarily because of the religion itself. The religion itself sounded all kumbaya-ish and everybody was super happy together and we're all going to chant in circles and love each other or whatever. But Rulon was the one who sold the idea. And so when Rulon was murdered, then there was a lot of like people who are falling off and falling away. And now you've got all of these documentary or all of these podcasts that are coming out of some dark satanic type of ritualistic ceremonies that Rulon supposedly was a part of. And quite a few members of the leadership of the AUB have been accused of being a part of. And we've been listening to some of them, and there's some dark, heavy stuff in there.
The interesting part is you say dark, satanic. Well, the righteous temple ceremonies and the dark satanic ceremonies almost look identical.
Yeah.
So it just depends on what the leadership calls it. And so, other people are like, well, that's pretty dark. But most people that go through the ceremonies are like, that didn't feel right. But again, this is the only way for us to get into heaven. So, and they're sacred for a reason. And it's because they don't want, they know the outside world will be like, you guys are nuts. But you as kids, because I didn't go through it, get in there. Most of these people that I've talked to, kids my age that went through it, they're like, man, it felt weird when we got in there. But here's all these adults that we looked up to performing it, moving along like there's nothing wrong. And we're like, what the heck? You guys are crazy. So
yeah, I wanted to get back to this question, this answer. Loop Tape says people really underestimate how important feeling like you belong is to humans, and what isolation and rejection does to our mental stability. The divisions we sow create vulnerability, and this is so true. You see this in the documentary too. You know, the isolation and
the shunning
and all that stuff. That is how you control a cult, for sure. Is the isolation part of it. We want to be included. We want to be involved, and then
it makes the people who are being shunned long to be included again.
Right.
And so, and then go through the shaming and repentance part of it to get back into it.
Well, and then it goes on to say, I'm glad they showed how Julia worked through the realization in the documentary. We all have to be able to face and do hard things. And I really appreciated how they showed Julia on that too, because not very many people that I personally know ever work through that. They never work through. They just go, there's just a guilt trip that comes along. Well, guess I screwed up your life then, huh? Guess I put, it's very hard for people to own what they might have done to themselves or to their families or to their children. A lot of them tend to just, I appreciated how Julia did that. One of the things that we talked about was when she said she could see herself behind bars, and it ended up being her children, and how hard that was for her. Because again, they have to be held accountable for what they've done, regardless of whether they were born and raised into a cult or not. But yeah, I appreciate when Julia said that. I'm trying to catch up on some of these comments. What do you see?
That one right there.
Right, that I have right here.
Yeah, hold on. Yeah.
It's the Sam Bacon gave off creeper vibes. The whole documentary with White Jacket marrying children, pure ick factor. It was really hard. Somebody also said on here, are you going to interview Gnomes? I thought about reaching out to her, honestly. I know she's overwhelmed with comments and stuff like that right now too. So I have thought about reaching out to her to see if that's something. I connected with her on a couple of social media platforms. So we'll see. That's definitely something that I've considered doing. And then somebody says, sorry, I'm a little late, so I apologize if this was already mentioned, but when are we starting the new book club? So excited. We haven't actually set a date for that. We need to set a date for it. We are working with Christine right now to have her come on our show. Christine Brown from Wooly, I guess, from Sister Wives. And so I was kind of debating, trying to work through that scheduling before I started the book club scheduling. I'm like, is it a good idea to have a book club and make fun of all these things before we have her on her to come and talk to us? So I don't know. We're still working on both of those things. Sorry, I didn't mean to jump that far.
Yeah, basically.
You gotta.
Sorry.
Review what you're reading.
Sorry. Let me find it here. She says that I would loop tape. I was glad. Oh, well, my mom was fundamental and wanted to practice polygamy. Thankful we didn't end up going that way. Yeah, somebody said that. So basically, I feel like my parents, a lot of them were drawn to the LDS church first. And for some reason in the 70s, there were a lot of people studying, going back to the roots of the original teachings. Even though they'd got rid of polygamy, these guys were going back and reading a lot of what Joseph Smith and Brigham Young and all those guys were saying. And they were like, oh, wait a minute, how come we're not living polygamy? And so, but then they had a choice. They had 3 or 4 communities out there. And at the time, Rulin seemed to be one of the most charismatic and had a lot of the communes. I'm not saying the FLDS did too, the Kingstons did also, but there were a lot of wealthy Mormons that were now joining in to the
and it feels like whenever the church changes major doctrine, is when you start seeing a flood of people go to fundamentalism and go to these offshoot polygamous communities when the Mormon church changes any type of major doctrine. Because then they feel like the people who want to stay with the fundamental teachings obviously go find fundamental groups, or they start their own or something to that effect. let's see. When it says, there's a fiction show on Netflix called Unchosen. It was triggering because it correlates to nonfiction. We were actually going to watch that. We had pulled that up and we were going to watch it the other night. And we were like, our niece that lives with us had already watched it. And she's like, yeah, maybe you guys should watch something a little bit more happier, because some of the stuff we've been watching these dark podcasts about ruling and a blood atonement rituals and stuff like that. So I think we opted not to watch a little bit heavier stuff and opted to go with a little bit lighter. But yeah, I would. Somebody says, I'd love for you to interview Gnomes and or Christine and Tolga. I've reached out to Christine too. We're just not interviewers yet. Like, I feel like we're still so brand new. We're chatters. We can chit chat with people, but we're definitely not interviewers. Again, when I first started my channel, Christine and Tolga reached out, had several conversations with them. They have been wonderfully supportive of our channel. So I think that there's a possibility that we could get them on here, but I haven't really, I just feel like, again, not trying to short sell ourselves or anything like that. We've never done interviewing. So we've been doing crash courses on like, what would we ask? And
yeah, somebody said up there too, yes, in 1978, the church changed. And my family, the majority of my family had joined in the late 60s, early 70s when they came in there. But in 1978, the church had changed its stance on every worthy man, because Brigham Young had taught in his time that African Americans could not hold the priesthood. And so his teaching changed a lot of who could join the church. Well, in 1978, they said, well, to grow the church even bigger, we need tithing from everybody. And so they changed their policy. I also think they changed, but I don't know the dates, the garments from the long garments. And so a lot of people I feel like up until then, yes, some stuff had been changed back in the late 1800s, but now all of a sudden in the 60s and 70s, a lot of stuff was changing in the church. And so then people were going back saying, should they have changed polygamy too? And so, yeah, then in 70s, there was a huge flood of people coming in. And it's interesting because when my dad and his first wife were ex-military, but there were like 6 other of his buddies from the military, from the Vietnam War, that all came up there. So there were a lot of Vietnam veterans that had joined and not all of them lived polygamy. They just liked the communal type of living.
Yeah. And
so there was a lot of families up there that had come back from the Vietnam War and decided to live in the communal. My dad was just an overachiever and got 9 wives, where most of them just came in with their first wives and hung out there, up there in Pinesdale. So,
right.
And one little guy from World War II. So we were always going down and helping him. He was a pretty interesting gentleman. I enjoyed talking with him a lot. So I think that's why I kind of like a lot of world histories,
obsessed with
stuff like that, world wars and things like that. And it's because I grew up with these guys always talking about it. In fact, I heard more about the Vietnam War from other people up there than I did my own dad. My dad wouldn't talk about it until later on in life. So
he had a lot of PTSD.
Yep, he did.
I think all cult leaders. Oh, damn it!
Yes, sir.
That jumped up. I think all cult leaders pull the same playbook. Let's see if I can find that comment again. Isolation makes control so much easier. Yep. Taking their beliefs and using it as a weapon. God is mad at you. You need to sleep with me. Which makes no sense to me. Like, why? But again, you are constantly tested. You're not going to go against God, are you? I'm not making this demand of you. God's making this demand of you. You need to get in line. And so a lot of it is that.
It's the core grooming belief that is taught throughout from the beginning, that a woman can only get into heaven through their priesthood holders, and that comes from the origins of the main church. One gender can get the priesthood. The second gender has to marry or be with that person or connect with that person to actually get into heaven. And so you as a man want to get your priesthood and hold on to it. That's your power, because then the grooming part of the teaching is then you will get many women that want to get into heaven with you, and you need 3. So they're lining up to the priesthood holder to get in there. So
we were watching some stand-up comedian, and she starts going off about, did you know that Mormons baptize Jewish people after they die? And so she goes, and then
for the dead.
Yeah. And then somebody pops off with, well, yeah. She goes, what do you get out of that? And she's like, well, we get planets.
Yeah.
So they started laughing about how Mormons get planets, and this is one of the reasons why Mormons do baptisms for the dead. And oh my gosh, it was a great comedy. I need to go look that up and keep and pull it up. I'm impressed.
It's a good sci-fi.
I'm impressed with how you actively work on your healing. In a video, you mentioned how you grew up being tested all the time. Do you think that positively transformed to wanting to heal triggers? For me, I feel like because I felt like we were constantly tested, I didn't know what was true and what wasn't true. So for me, it's wanting to know the truth. So when I get triggered, I want to know the truth. Is this something that, and that was the number one thing I feel like we learned during our divorce, was if you're pissing me off, it's something going on inside of me. I don't want to, because we tried to have, what's the word I'm looking for? That we tried to have like the ultimate level of accountability in our divorce. And so we were hyper accountable about what roles we each played in our divorce. And so when you're triggered with something, we did not want to blame each other for the triggers. Yeah. And so to me, when you're triggered by something, it's just learning the truth about that. And because I felt like we were so mind screwed over all the time that we never knew what was true and what wasn't true. In fact, on the Trust Me False Prophet, Noam is actually in college studying psychology because she wants to understand what happened to her. I feel like for me, that's the same thing for me. I want to understand what's true and what's not true. Is it my emotions that are causing this reaction, or is it you, or what, you know what I mean? So that's why I look into triggers. That's why I want to heal stuff, is because I want to be radically accountable for my own life and my own actions. And I don't want to blame my father, my ex-husband, Corey, my mother. I don't want to blame everyone else for how my life has turned out. So it's my responsibility to heal those things.
Yeah. I felt like a lot of my healing through our divorce, talking with our marriage counseling, were dogma beliefs. Even though I wasn't a polygamist, I still had these beliefs of what a marriage looked like. Once you had committed, you didn't get to choose out, all of that stuff. And I started asking questions.
So just don't blame Corey.
Yeah. Just started asking questions and going, oh, you could, nothing is, you have to constantly be working on a relationship. You have to have open communication. I came into marriage number 1, going, well, there's certain things that would just cause, that if I'm honest with you about, it would just cause upset, and I don't want to do that type thing. And so all of a sudden we start going through marriage counseling. We're completely honest with each other. We get divorced. We're more honest with each other.
We were.
And then we start talking about do we want to still work together as we wanted to work together as parents, but hey, you're still my best friend. So, and we made it through a divorce without destroying each other. We're still good friends in this thing. So yeah, it was so interesting because I had to change so many of my thought patterns. Even though I wasn't a polygamist, so many of my thought patterns of the marriages that I saw growing up and what they looked like.
Well, I think too, for the number one thing growing up, especially being male in this religion, is you never have to be accountable for anything. It's like, oh, I don't want to deal with that wife, so I'm going to go to this other wife's house. And so you literally never have to sit down and heal something or have a conversation with somebody. And so I feel like that is where so much of our first marriage fell apart too, is because even though we were not polygamist, Corey was just like, I don't want to deal with that. So we're just not going to deal with it. And I'm over here like, no, we're dealing with it right now, mother effer. And he's like, yeah, no, I'm not. And so we still had a lot of programming and training because that's how we saw marriages being lived in our lives. And they were dysfunctional, extremely dysfunctional. And so it's like, I don't want to deal with you. So I'm going to go sleep with so-and-so tonight, or I'm going to go to her house and then I'll get back to your house when you get over your issues. And so the women were always taught that the issues were their problem, and that if they just prayed harder or went to and got a blessing or studied the scriptures or whatever it was, that they would get over their issues. The issues were them, not the men.
Yeah. It's built into the dogma.
And then we come to realize that it's all your fault.
It's built into the dogma that you don't question the priesthood holder. If you've got a problem, it's your problem to get over. And the priesthood holder, and even though they took my priesthood away and everything like that, they didn't teach me how to communicate. I didn't.
And a lot of people
never
you cannot take a priesthood away. Once you've been given it, only God can take it away from you. So,
well, I didn't want their priesthood in the first place. So when they took it away, I'm like, yep, get that off. So, yeah, I don't need this old white garment to be wearing around. So, not that they gave me a garment with the priesthood, but
and so we genuinely wanted to figure out. We saw broken marriages. One of the things that made me so mad growing up is my parents would say to us all the time, we just want you guys to have a relationship like we have. And I'm like, do you hate me? Why would you ever wish that on your children? I don't want that type of a relationship. And I know that my parents thought that was what was healthy and happy, but it wasn't. We could see that it wasn't. My mom was not happy. My dad was abusive. My mom was abusive. They did not have the communication skills. And so we just did not want that type of relationship. And that's what we had.
I want to answer that one.
Which one? This
Jessica. Yeah.
Oh, Jessica's. Okay.
How out of the norm is it for the sister wives to go to couples therapy?
Never happens.
So
I've never seen it happen other than on this show.
There not couples therapy. No, but I remember I was a young man. I had some older brothers that were polygamists and stuff like that. And a lot of people down here in Salt Lake were going to that self-help seminar that you went to.
Oh, yeah.
And all of a sudden, because they were asking questions and waking up a lot of the women that were going to these, there became a rash of women going, wait a minute, we deserve to be treated better. And they were leaving their husbands. And so they got up over the pulpit up in Montana and said, hey, it's not a good idea to have your wives go to these self-help seminars, because they're basically
teaching these women to have self-confidence. And they're leaving their husbands.
They're basically saying that they don't have to be obedient to the priesthood leader. And so we don't want that kind of and so really
shit and then I'm going to get all irritated.
Really so it was actually, when I was young, told not to go and do that stuff, especially from somebody Gentile, and of course nobody within the AUB being
a Gentile though. So
I know
the one who started this self-help there, Rulin Allred's one of his oldest children, her name was Dorothy. Dorothy Allred Solomon. She and her husband were self-help trainers, or there was a company out in California called LifeSpring, and they went across the United States for years. Well, they decided to move that program into Utah. And of course, she started converting, like getting a bunch of AUB polygamous people to come through this training. It's an accountability training. It's a self-help training. Basically, it gives you, a self-esteem of some sort. And I was put in there because I had just tried to choose out of life. And I was 20. It was the end of August. It was August 29th. And I was broken. And Dorothy and her husband had come and started this training. Well, I had heard about the training and I was like, that doesn't sound fun. That sounds miserable as hell. And so if anyone knows about LifeSpring, if anyone knows about, they're still going to this day. They're still all across the country today. And so Dorothy and her husband brought a branch of that here into Utah and got a bunch of polygamous people to go. So I started my classes at the 1st of October. And again, a lot of people did not want their wives to go to this because it would give them some level of self-respect, some level of self-esteem. And then they're going to start seeing how poorly they're actually treated by their husbands. Well, this is exactly what happened with me and my ex-husband too. It is.
He'd probably blame it on the class too, that dang it, she's not being obedient. She's got some self-esteem. This kind of sucks. Yeah. And he wasn't going there to check in and, hey, I could treat people with a little bit better.
So Dorothy Allred, Rulin Allred's daughter, actually did start this. I adore this woman to this day. I absolutely love her. I am so grateful for the things that she taught me. It's a 3-level class. The first level is about you and your own personal trauma. The second level was about you and your familial family. And then the third level was about you and your community, or you and your and the world. How are you going to heal and show up through some of that? So, of course, I was married to my ex-husband during all of this, and I was put in the class because I was broken, not him. He didn't need to go to the class, just me. And so, and it changed my life. It completely changed my life, because at that time, I didn't know how broken I actually was, because what I saw was normal. What I saw was regular. And so, and again, you see that in this Trust Me, False Prophet, these little girls, these that are married to Sam Bateman, they don't know anything different. This is what they've been taught their entire lives. And you don't know something, and you don't know that you don't know. And so that's what happened with me. And I went to this class, and my parents went to the class. My mom and dad went to the class. My dad put most of his wives through this class too. And it actually strengthened a lot of their relationships too, which is again, why when my dad became the leader or the prophet of the AUB, we thought things would be so different, because he'd been through these different levels of accountability trainings. He had gone through a ton of healing. He'd done some inner child workshops, stuff like that. And he just, it appears to me that he's just reverted back to a patriarchal system that he's kind of turned into a dictator. Yeah. So, but yeah, there you go.
So what we're saying is a man and his 4 wives or 3 wives don't go out to a therapist out in the world and get advice from them.
No,
ever.
I was like,
in the AUB. Yeah.
But yeah,
they
no,
never, that was absolutely built up for the show. And from that, those therapy things, that it again looked like it didn't strengthen them all too much, and probably gave the women more self-esteem to later on go, yeah, okay, we don't need to be in these marriages anymore. And so I guarantee Cody's going to blame later on down the line in his life, or at some point, that by going to a therapist outside of the AUB is the reason his marriages fell apart. So,
because honestly, when we did this class, I walked into the class and there was like 55 people or something like that in the class, and 48 of them were polygamous people. And I was like, oh, hell no, I am not taking this class with all these judgmental assholes. And I was going to turn around and walk out. I refused to go to this class because I was no way going with all these people. These are the people who judge you every Sunday for being broken. And I had just tried to choose out of life. I was sad. I was miserable. I did not want these people to know all of my problems and issues. And so, and of course, one of them was a woman that I had deep seated issues with. She was one of the top matriarchs of the AUB. And I was just like, I don't want this woman knowing my shit. I don't want any of that. And so I did not want to go, but I was so broken that it was like, I felt like I almost didn't have a choice. And it ended up being really one of the most obviously transformational things I've ever done in my life.
Mm-hmm.
And it turned my whole life around. And this one particular woman and I became so very, very close, lifelong friends after that. And it healed between the two of us. It was amazing. Oh, LifeSpring. Yep. Somebody says, I did LifeSpring here in New York City in 94. I knew you did it from what you have been talking about. Yes. LifeSpring is one. Did I say LifeSpring earlier?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay. So that was, I think, the parent company. And then they did like little breakoffs from LifeSpring.
And so you quickly found out that all 48 polygamous people that you're in that class were all liars and masturbators like you.
Oh my God. We're not.
So you guys all had something in common.
I was not, but some people in that room were. But yeah.
You are judging on your.
It was a hard class, but
good class.
Again, I did not even know that I wasn't accountable. I did not know how I was showing up in life. I had no idea that class woke me up. And then I became very heavily involved with them for years and went back and volunteered there a lot. Somebody says, by the way, that laughing disco ball wasn't any commentary on what you were saying. YouTube gave me gems for some reason. And I said I could send a gift. So hopefully it gives you some money. I thought I saw something on it, but I didn't see I don't know if it popped up on the screen for you guys. We didn't see it. But yeah, LifeSpring was the main company. Let's see. Thank you for this. Mel and Corey, given your upbringing and lack of good models, you are amazingly good to find yourselves back to each other. It's hard enough for monogamous couples to confront their troubles. It is. Yeah. I feel like it's been a lot of work. This has not been easy to figure it out.
First of all, it was just the acknowledgement that we didn't have good role models. We had no clue what we were doing. And we knew that in parenting. And then we very quickly or over time we didn't even have good role models in marriages. Yeah. So we want to learn more. We want to see, even through our divorce. I mean, when I first got married to Mel, I didn't know what a marriage looked like or anything like that. So when we were getting divorced, I'm like, well, I want to understand what a healthy marriage looks like. So,
right.
So I know what I'm looking for in the next marriage if I'm going to get married again. And so right. I'm like, I'm paying for it. Let's get educated and learn what healthy marriages look like. And
well, and we were trying to blend a family.
Yeah.
I mean, I had 3 children when we got married. We were trying to blend that family. And I had an ex-husband who was actively trying to destroy my life, actively trying to do as much damage to our relationship as he possibly could, and as much damage to my children as he possibly could. And so it was not like we had everything stacked against us at that point. What?
Ex-husband, some of your brothers,
yeah,
your dad.
Yeah.
There was a lot of people against us at the very beginning.
Yeah.
So,
yep. So definitely it was very hard. We just did not have the resources. So we've actually had to go out and look for things. And yeah, we worked hard. We have definitely had to work hard to get here.
Meant to say, was there any?
Let's see. The patriarchy is on full display right now with our current leadership. To be honest, women are subjugated, suppressed, crimes committed against them and hidden. Same thing. Yep. We're not going to get in politics here, but yep. I agree with you. Let's see. I want to get this one. Did you guys see Jane's interview of Addie from the AUB? I felt like some people were being judged of you guys in the comments saying Addie had such a great experience. So you two are wrong. That's interesting. I have not actually seen that interview, but we know Addie. I know Addie, and she's amazing. Her mom actually delivered my last baby. And her mom is wonderful. And I think everybody has again, this is what we've said. Everyone has a different experience.
Well, and I just want to be honest. There were 3 moments in my life that were really good in the AUB, and so I'm just talking about. I've talked about those ones and talking about the other ones. So, right. I learned hard work as a young child. How to go out and work and do things on our own.
Yeah.
I met some great people. So I talk about the 3 good things that I grew up in the AUB. So.
Very good. And again, everyone has different experiences. You hear Christine Brown talk about her experiences, and in her experience, she had a wonderful childhood. So I think it just depends. Even in my own siblings, I had siblings who had a totally different childhood than I did. And I had, I've got younger siblings who are very devoted to my parents and my dad and my mom. And there's nothing wrong with that. They just didn't have the same experience that we had. I was the first out of 350 grandchildren to get married in the polygamous community, in the polygamous church. I was the first one. I was the first one to turn around and leave too. No one had ever done that before. So a lot of mistakes were made, me coming from being the oldest out of all of them. Addie is one of the younger ones of her family too. And she's just a cute bug anyways. I just have really appreciated her. And her husband is a cutie too. Mm-hmm. So again, that's why we do try to say on our channel, this is just our experience. Everyone else's experience is different. Again, I'm one of the oldest. Corey is one of the oldest. A lot more mistakes are made that way. I know Mel truly knows everyone in the AUB.
She does.
Well, yeah, Addie's mom delivered our last baby, and she was a wonderful midwife. I absolutely loved her.
Yeah.
I do know everyone in the AUB. It feels like Corey's like, how the hell do you know all these people? I'm like, we were raised with most of them, but Corey and I also didn't know each other when we got together. So go ahead.
You were raised in a royal family. I was raised in not so royal family. So we both grew up in the same community and had totally 2 different experiences.
Yeah.
So
yeah. I'll have to go back and watch it. We haven't watched it yet, and I haven't read any of the comments of it. We do get hit in the comments a lot, which is fine. I totally get it. Like these are polarizing and controversial subjects that we're talking about. And again, that's why we do try to remind everybody that this is just our experience. Yeah. This isn't what everyone else experienced. And in fact, even just when we were talking to Christine not too long ago, and that was one of the things we talked about, is that I said to her, I'm like, I'm so grateful that you had the childhood that you had such a wonderful experience with your father, because not all of us had that. So there are,
there's 2 sides to every thing. I grew up in a family with tons of built-in friends, brothers and sisters. We had a lot, and we had all something in common, that we grew up in neglect and hard work. And so I had 10 parents. I got to see 10 different versions of parenting, and got to eliminate, okay, I don't want to be a parent like this is okay here. And so, 10 different versions. So, very appreciative of my large family, but I personally wanted to have I wanted to know each one of my kids' name and spend time with each one of them. So that was the fun part for me. So 39 kids are hard to have a personal relationship constantly with. So,
So no, I definitely have no judgment against anyone who has had those types of upbringings. That's amazing for them. Somebody did ask, do you guys still believe in God? And then there was a response that says, the question of whether someone believes in God is so complicated that it feels like that's probably hard for a lot of people who have left their religion or origin to answer. For me, do I believe in a higher power? Absolutely. Do we go to an organized religion church? No, we don't. I have no interest in ever being a part of an organized religion again. But I definitely do believe in a higher power. I definitely do believe in spirituality. I definitely do believe in having a connection with your maker, whatever that looks like for you. That's awesome. I just don't have any interest in going ever to an organized religion again and having somebody be between me and my maker. Mm-hmm. That's a direct relationship that I have now. It's not something that I need someone else's opinion on. Let's see. Hopefully that answers your question and doesn't sound too harsh. So, it bothers me so much when people act that way. One person's experience is not another's. And when you get a lot of people with negative feedback, you assume the good experiences are outliers. Yeah, no, there's a lot of people who have had very great, amazing experiences growing up this way. I just personally didn't. And I had some good experiences, but I don't feel like that outweighed the negative. Mm-hmm. I don't feel like the negative experiences that we had and the abuse that we suffered was worth the religion.
We chose to live a different way.
Yeah.
So Catherine Perry says,
thank you so much for that super chat, Catherine.
Corey on his way to being royalty. The notorious, nefarious PSR and NPSR. I was on my way, and then Melanie started this channel and got us kicked off of the coattails of the prophet. So it's like I got excommunicated twice, priesthood taken away twice. This time it was taken away from her. So, yep, we're pretty much in trouble.
Yeah. Dr. Adam talked about an old episode where Cody said he was disappointed that people didn't visit them in Vegas for his home church. Is that because they were basically kicked out for doing the show? I don't know. I don't really know anything about that. I apologize. I would think no. It's just people just didn't go to Vegas to go to church, I guess. I don't know.
Exactly. We were told it was Sin City, so the people that from the AUB that went to Vegas went there for sin. They weren't going there to hang out with Cody Brown and his family. So they were down there gambling and converting wives to come into the AUB.
Yeah. So a lot of people do family home Sunday schools, I guess is what you would call it. And so I'm not sure. Trying to get somebody to come down there and visit. I don't know. I'd have to watch the episode to kind of get more context around that. Yeah. But I don't think so. No.
Jay Patel says, I saw Corey's brother husband popped out of Lucifer's den to be obnoxious. Well, he would argue that he was, he's the Lord's anointed somehow.
Yeah.
He's part of 3 different churches.
If you follow us on any of our other social media, you'll see that we did some posts about there are some I've decided that I'm just going to start calling things out live as they happen. We watched this documentary on the false prophet. They're things that happened years ago. This type of behavior still happens right now. It's happening today. We are getting the comments. We get the hate mail. We get the hate comments. And so I've just decided I'm going to start calling it out when it happens because it is happening in real time. So if you follow us on any of our other channels, you'll see some of the wonderful comments that have been made that I decided to address and make little videos out of. So we did that. So I made a couple videos.
Because a lot of what she talks about is growing up, getting married for the first time in polygamy, how things didn't work out. And I'm always trying to clarify, yes, I am an ex-husband. I'm not the one she's talking about. And so, he was like, showed up in the comments, raised his hand, said, I'm the one she's talking about.
Pick me.
Yeah. And the amazing part about it is he's just excited that she's paying him some attention again.
That's true.
So
that's very true.
He's basically Dumb and Dumber, where he's like, so you're saying there's a chance she's talking to me again, even though it's call about. I mean, in his mind,
and there's several more comments other than what I've already made videos on. So I posted all those videos on our TikTok, our Instagram, and Facebook. Feel free to check them out if you guys want to. Mel, just kidding. Hope the priesthood holder jokes don't bother you. They never bother me at all. I think most of them are funny. Honestly, I have healed through so much of that. Sometimes Corey knows exactly like what button to push. And I'm like, listen, mother effer, let's go. But it's just jesting. It's not anything that I ever take too seriously. Let's see. 2 things stacked against Cody. 1, people wanted the sin part of not the church part in Vegas, and they probably just didn't want to hang out with him. Yeah, literally. I don't think it was because they were never kicked out of the AUB per se that I'm aware of. What I understood is that it was basically just a mutual parting of ways. The Browns didn't want to be a part of the religion or part of that church anymore, and they didn't really want all of the fanfare that came along. Sister Wives fans are nuts, and so I think that had some to do with it too. Boston says, I can't imagine hating either one of you. Well, there's a lot of people out there right now who do. So, and some of them tend to be
righteous
the closest people to you that end up hurting the very most.
The most righteous are the ones that are a bit judgy. So
I was going to say self-righteous. I don't know if I'd call it righteous. I'd say self-righteous.
All the lovely Gentiles like us. This is amazing. So,
yeah.
So, yeah, if you've got any sort of dogmatic belief system in the way we grew up, you probably
and we have learned
not as happy.
We are actually making our inner circle smaller. We are doing that because lately it's been a little bit painful. It's been a little people that we never thought would ever treat us the way that they have. It's been brutal. People who have literally been told to sit down and shut up because you don't know what you're talking about are some of our worst.
Are turning around telling you to sit down and shut up.
Exactly.
You should listen to what.
Sit down and shut up. Yeah. And so we together have chosen to make our inner circle very small.
Well, they learned the lesson then.
Yeah.
So they're being very obedient. Good for you guys. So.
Yep. Thank you for answering my question about God. I'm also not part of any organized religion after a cultish church growing up, but still have a relationship with my creator. No middleman needed. Yeah. Yep. And honestly, I love how spiritually in tune our children are. That's the part that has kind of surprised me, but then kind of not. It surprised me in a way because that's what I was taught my whole life. If you don't go to church, your children are not going to be spiritually in any way. And yet I would say that our children are more spiritually in tuned than I ever was. Because I wasn't in alignment. I wasn't integrable I was so judgmental. I was so pious. I was so,
a lot of the dogma, a lot of the upbringing that we had was to stifle any of our questions. We've taught our kids to question, to ask questions, to try to learn. Yeah. You were told what to think, how to think, when to think, and then sit back and be a shiny child when people were over.
Yeah.
But really not to even talk. So, and if you felt enlightened or if you had different things, you were told you were wrong.
Yeah.
And so only the prophet could get that. Only the leadership, only the priesthood holders could get enlightenment. And so you should be coming to them for guidance, not to any sort of.
Well, and it's funny too, because we have taught our children to ask those questions my son has read the Book of Mormon, I think a couple of times. I think he's read the Bible like 4 times. Yeah. I don't even know how many times they've read. And yet some stuff went down in our country over Easter weekend that just lit one of my boys up. He was so angry about a lot of it. And he's like, and unfortunately in this religion, we know a lot of people like Sam Bateman. And so my son decides he needs to pick a fight with somebody. So he drops down a little bomb on my her
first ex-husband.
And decides
not her favorite
he's going to light this. He wants to debate him now because he's debating all about some stuff that went on. I mean, everyone saw it over Easter weekend that just lit up my oldest. And so I'm like, so you just needed to argue with somebody. So you decided to argue with him. And he's like, yeah, because I know that his arguments are so, maybe one day I'll get to him. Maybe one day he'll start to realize his level of ignorance. I'm like, probably not. What you're doing is you're making him dig in deeper and just his ignorance just shines all the way through. And so he tells my son, sure, I might have SA'd your mom before we were married, and sure, her dad might have made her apologize to me, but she had voluntary sexual relationships with her ex-boyfriend, who was my boyfriend at the time. So really, she kind of got what she deserved. So that's the kind of people that you're debating and arguing, is that level of ignorance and stupidity.
And we raised our boys to be different and think differently.
Our boys to be different. So thank you so much, Catherine Perry, for that super chat. It says, we will say the opposite. Stand up and speak your truth. Yeah.
Thank you.
And that's that's why I decided to make the videos about some of the comments that my ex-husband is making on some of our social media posts, because it's real life and it's happening right now. It's not something that happened 4 or 5 years ago or that we're making a documentary on. It's something that's happening right now. It's a level of a psychological abuse that he thinks he can get away with now. And so we're just going to call it out. It's bad, dirty behavior. And how many times do we just ignore the bad, dirty behavior because we don't want to be polarizing? Well, hell, we're already polarizing. Our channel is already polarizing. So there we go. So we're just going to call out the bad behavior when it gets up. So yeah, a lot of hate is actually people trying to protect themselves and loved ones from the truth. It literally has nothing to do with you. It still hurts and is unfair. Sending extra love always. Thank you. Yeah, I've been very surprised at the level of ignorance that has come from even some of my siblings. It's been very surprising to me. I did not expect some of that, I guess. And
they don't watch our stuff. So
yeah,
good job on being obedient.
Yeah, it's very true. And so we did have a very different upbringing, even than what Addie had on Jay and Jeff's interview. We had an extremely different upbringing than her. I'm 15 years older than her. We were raised in a generation of extreme fear because the prophet of the church that my parents belonged to was murdered. And so we were raised in an entirely different vibration, an entirely different energy in the church than what these younger generations were raised in. What are you smirking at over here?
Well, then that means
having this conversation in your head.
Yeah, that means she was 18 when I was 18 when she was born. I had already survived 20 apocalypses. So everything that they had put together, the end of the world, she was born into kind of an apocalypse-free society at that point. They were searching scriptures over and over again to find new apocalypses.
So yeah, we were raised in an entirely different society than these younger generations were raised in.
My younger siblings don't even know half of the apocalypses.
Yeah.
They were scared of Y2K and the Mayans. Those were the two coming up because we had already lived through all the big ones that all the major prophets had prophesied about. So they were off, and hey, you're just off a little bit. Maybe you're not a prophet. No, we'll search the scriptures a little bit better. I must have missed somewhere in the math.
Yeah.
And so you guys are math teachers, not prophets. I mean, God's not actually talking to you. You're just trying to do the math of something he already. And some of the apocalypses was God actually talked to him, and then he was messing with them, joking around with them, and like, well, that was just a joke. I changed my mind. PSR.
And so honestly, that's one of the reasons why we love to do lives. We love to answer the questions live. Plus we want to bring you guys along. Like, we're actively healing through some of this shit, and it's not just us talking about our childhood experiences. We're ruffling feathers by talking about this because it is so polarizing and people want to just leave a cult and not talk about it. We did that for years. We wanted to just focus on raising our children, focus on our family. We didn't want to talk about some of these things. And so then the next generation's abused, and then the next generation's abused. And when we are out here talking about things, especially as siblings, then it's like, well, wait a second, I didn't have that experience, so you need to sit down and stop talking about this because you're causing too many issues. And that's what's been very frustrating for me. It's like, you're welcome. You know, my mom had 7 girls, and I want to tell the bottom half of them, you guys are welcome. You were not forced into this lifestyle because I was brave enough to leave. And so you were not forced into having to do some of these things that I was. You were not forced into having to marry people that you didn't want to, or you were not forced into doing a lot of the things that were just undertones that we didn't even always talk about. And so it's like, just because you weren't raised that way doesn't mean that invalidates my experience. And that's been very frustrating for me. I want some of those little assholes to be a little more grateful. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. Slightly. Let's see.
At least you didn't have to fight any zombies. Yes, we did. So.
It felt that way. Okay, I'm sure you're helping more people with your honesty and straightforwardness. This is just too difficult for some people to handle. It means that their beliefs are wrong. And honestly, I definitely feel that way. I feel like for some people it is. It's something that they don't want to look at. They don't want to see why they are the way that they are. They don't want to see where they came from. It's easier just to forget all that and just move forward. And I have siblings who still have relationships with my dad, and they don't want to acknowledge that he claims that he is literally the only person on the planet for 8 billion plus people that can talk to God, that can do all of they don't even want to acknowledge that. All they want to do is just have a relationship with their father. And that's great. That's fine. Like, live in whatever reality that's the reality that they want to create with my dad. Go for it. Do that. But to sit there and be as harmful, I feel like, as they are to other people who don't want to live in that delusion, feels a little unfair. There, look at that soapbox I just went on. Sorry about that.
We did have to fight zombies. We just thought the other groups, thought the AUB was the chosen people, and it was the other groups that were the zombies, the mindless zombies that listened to one leader and did things that they were told. They didn't think for themselves, and we were the chosen people that didn't think for ourselves, but we had a prophet that thought was better than their prophet. So the zombies were going to be other groups that were trying to take because they would survive based on their priesthood. Everybody else would be wiped out, but they would be coming in and trying to take over the kingdom of God, and we had to protect ourselves from that.
Yeah.
So
it's very true.
It is zombies.
So yep, it is this. It's like cycle breaking. As a parent, our kids will never know what we protected them from because they won't have had to experience it, so they can never fully appreciate it. Mm-hmm. And it's very true that they don't know. Some of my girl siblings have no idea. They were part of the AUB when it was fun to have a little boy look at you, or to have, they never actually got into the dating part of it. They never actually got into the rituals part of it, or the covenant part of it, or the doctrine part of it.
Or the old man part of it.
Or the old man wanting to marry them part of it. They never really experienced that. So they turn around and judge how harshly. That's why I guess I'm surprised it's more of my sisters that are coming after me than even any of my brothers. I had one sister who took it upon himself to call my other brother, and you better be careful about Melanie and her channel. Better watch Melanie and her channel. And, he's probably my worst sister out of all of them. It's ridiculous. So, God, I'm on a little rampage, huh? Let's see.
What was the AUB's opinion of Warren Jeffs and the FLDS? That he wasn't the right prophet.
And he was a pedophile.
And that he slept with underage girls. FLDS were like, well, the AUB sleeps with the AUB are child molesters. They just don't marry them. And then the Kingstons were inbred. They married brothers and sisters. So
yeah, honestly,
that's what the difference of all three groups. And the AUB were wife swappers. You'd marry a couple wives, release.
Prophet pissing contest.
Yeah, move them over. So
that's funny. Yeah.
That's the difference.
No,
between
they definitely
the three.
looked at Warren Jeffs as a little dictator, as a false prophet, obviously, that he got his way in there from manipulating and lying. Yep. And at least that's what I was always taught. So,
and the rest of all the other groups were just considered independents. Most of them didn't really organize. And if they did organize, they didn't organize underneath of a prophet.
Right.
So the three major groups, I guess, that we knew of them, there might have been another one, but the three major groups that kind of, how would I say it, intermarried, or had families in all three groups, somehow, aunts, uncles, things like that, each had a prophet that they all followed. So
right.
Split off from the main split off from the Mormon church. So
right. I feel your pain, though, Mel.
LDS
it's painful
church.
For your siblings to not recognize how you've been abused and that your father doesn't deserve their allegiance. And that's the thing is, I find if they want to love my dad, I will never tell them not to do that. Mm-hmm. But also, the trash talking that happens about our channel from people who don't even watch our channel is where I get the most frustrated. Oh, and that's what happens is I was told I don't watch that crap. And yet they're ones gossiping the most about it. So
the phone tree is working. AUB's phone tree is working.
Yes.
So
sometimes people on the edge of questioning also push back really hard too, because they are ashamed you are having an impact based on the teachings and then the indoctrination. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And that's been hard for me to not take things so personally. That's one of the biggest lessons we've been learning out of the last few weeks. Both of us being the oldest children. We're both the oldest children from our mothers. We're both the first child born into polygamy from our families. And one of the hardest lessons I feel like we've been learning is not to pick up things that don't belong to us. Yeah. And I tend to want to help my siblings. I don't want them to feel sad. I don't want them to hurt. So I pick up energy that doesn't belong to me. And I need to let them go handle their things. I need to let my parents handle their things. I need to let, instead of jumping in and trying to help or trying to fix or trying to do whatever. So that's been one of my biggest things, is taking a step back and letting people handle whatever they need to handle, figure out whatever traumas or whatever triggers that they need to handle, and stop trying to fix things for people, because I tend to pick those things up and they don't belong to me.
It's interesting because yes, sorry, I lost my train of thought there. The people that are judging you or us right now are judging us based off stuff that they have questioned in the past too.
Right.
So that's the interesting part. They're telling you to sit up and shut up and sit down. And they were frustrated when they were told to shut up and sit down.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, us asking questions or talking about it, that's interesting to think about that. Those people are ticked at us because we said, what? Oh, are you questioning that too? You are, aren't you? Yeah. If they were honest, the reason that they're upset about it is because they've got the same doubts and questions in their mind. So that's pretty brilliant.
Yeah. So I've been surprised at some of the pushback from who it's come from. That's been very, very surprising to me. Thank you for this, Mel. Your posted responses to your ex-hubby number one were on point while being graceful and honest. You go, ma'am. Thank you. Mm-hmm. I was really debating on whether to even respond to them, because honestly, I give this man even an ounce of attention and he goes, oh my God, she's saying there's a chance. But then I had a conversation with my son and he read me some back and forth texts, and I was just like, I can't sit here and be quiet about this anymore. I have to stand up and say something. Yeah. These men are getting away with this bad behavior, and he's throwing up on my son like this, and I have to say something now. So there you go. I decided if he wants to make it public, I'll make it public too. So yeah, that's where that's coming from. I found in advocacy being highly compassionate caused issues from people who disagreed and who agreed with me. It was really tough to manage the hits from those who I expected support. It was really tough to manage, and the hits from those who I expected to support hurt the most.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think that's where I have had some of my hardest awakenings, if you will, over the last couple of weeks, is because people that I have nurtured and loved and really been a second mother to, really, I feel like are the ones who have been the most disappointing. And so, yeah, that's been a little bit. Denying abuse until ready to leave. A person looks like an idiot when they stay with their abuser. Hopefully when a person leaves, they can acknowledge what they went through. And again, that is what I feel sad about, is the shame that we put on ourselves, because we were doing the best that we could with what we had. And I really, truly want to believe about humans, is that we do the best with what we know. And when we know better, we will do better. And so when you are in a situation like this, where you have the potential to be an abuser and a victim, I feel like if we could remove some of that shame and just say, you know what, I could have done better. I should have done better sooner, but I didn't. I'm sorry. And then we walk away and we leave it at that. Instead, we like to whip in ourselves and beat ourselves up for stuff for years and years and years. I do it myself. And so that's one of the harder parts, I feel.
Please forgive me when for what I said when I was listening to the prophet, repeating the prophet.
Yeah, that's what I love about cults to consciousness. Please forgive me for what I said when I was in a cult. And this is very true. It's hard to be the oldest daughter and an alpha female. We want to fix things that we think need fixing and help people who need our help, regardless of whether they want it or not. And that is very true. And that has been one of the hardest lessons for me. It has and it hasn't. It's weird, because I figured I would be more, I found so much peace over the last 3 weeks to a month, that the last 2.5 months, I have found so much more peace in my life, because I had taken a step back and went, this isn't mine. That I'm not going to pick this up. This isn't mine. I'm not going to do this. And I've taken a step back. And so I've actually found a lot more peace. I thought it would be harder for me to do, but I feel, and that's what I was telling Corey, I'm like, I feel like we've healed so much that these are things that I can just sit down and let other people handle now. So,
you scoffed at Jay Patel.
I did scoff at Jay Patel.
Oh,
Jay Patel, you're funny. I saw his repost and told me all I needed to know. Yeah. Yeah, I have tried not to address some of the some of the reposts that my ex-husband has done on TikTok. I've tried not to address those because I don't want to get sued. But there's a reason he resonates with stuff like that. And all you can do is, I think you can Google what are they called? The pictures that you get taken when you go to jail. Mugshots. Yeah, I think you can Google mugshots, and that will give you a ton of information.
How would I know that?
And that's why I don't. That's why I try to stay as clear away from that repost as possible, because you can Google that, and definitely it's not 100% it's not 100% accurate. I read the word adequate right as I was going to try to say accurate. Because there's a dozen that are not on there that should be.
Yeah, he is not. To our grandkids, they don't know him as.
Are you seeing that?
Grandpa.
No, our grandkids. He doesn't even know their names.
Yeah, he doesn't have a clue who they are.
So. He doesn't know our grandchildren's. He doesn't know our grandchildren's names at all. He doesn't have anything to do with them at all. I agree with this one too. Oh, come on, keeps jumping. My therapist says, do the best you can with the tools that you have. And at some point in your life, the tools are inadequate, but those tools are skills that we have learned if we put in the work. And I agree. And I feel like it's like you start with a little handheld screwdriver, and then you move to an electric screwdriver. And then my boys love to bring their big boy tools over and make fun of Corey's little
construction workers.
Yeah. Cause they're construction workers.
And I got little old man tools.
Like, here, Dad. Here's the actual big man tools. And so I feel like we advance and we use the tools for what we have. And when we learn better, then we update our skills. Now, thank you. Grab that oxygen mask for yourself. Then you can help others when they ask. And we agree. In fact, Corey and I just did a really deep healing session a couple weeks ago. And that was exactly what was said to us before we started, was because I was like, no, tonight's not going to work to do this because our kids want to come over. And that's exactly what we were told.
Mm-hmm.
You need to go into this therapy because how can you show up for your kids if you can't even show up for yourselves right now? And this was
Mm-hmm.
after we had gone to Montana, and Montana was brutal in some ways. And so we came home and learned a lot of really good lessons,
Mm-hmm.
a lot of really healing lessons from that trip. And, but it required some really, really deep introspective work. There you go.
Yeah, sweet.
I'm trying to catch up to the comments and Corey's over here laughing.
Sweet innocent me would never know what a mugshot was. So
yeah, they're mugshots, and so feel free to Google.
I talked my way out of the only mugshot I could have ever gotten. So this is when I was a young man from the cult.
That's worth telling.
Yeah, from the cult, and I had a warrant out for my arrest because I didn't know how to pay tickets.
He got a $5 speeding ticket in Idaho, and he's like, "I'm bad boy."
Yeah, I got a warrant out for my
Cops.
arrest.
I'm a bad boy. I got pulled over. They
and the
told me
guy's
I
like,
had a
just
warrant out for my arrest.
Follow me down to the courthouse and write him a check, and then we won't arrest you. And I'm like, sweet. So yeah, I've been a good kid my whole life. So,
yeah.
Knock on wood.
I'm like, yeah, you can't even tell that story. You're not a bad boy. You're not on an episode of Cops. It's so hard that when we are good, it's so hard that when we are good supports, we also become a safe place for loved ones, anger and pain. Yep. Especially when it's probably not really even related to us, but something unhealed in them.
Mm-hmm.
That's what we've been dealing with that a lot over the last couple of months. And yeah, it's tricky. And I've been trying to be so careful and be respectful of those in my family who are going through some of this and not talk about a lot of it online. But it kicks our ass. It kicks my ass for sure. What are you looking at?
I don't know who Macy's husband is, but his fan asked if he could
on Secret Lives of Mormon Wives.
Oh, okay.
The Jacob, the one that's so freaking cute, married to Macy, and he's a girl dad.
Okay.
The one that you were like, you got all emotional and you're like, oh my gosh, I love this guy.
And he likes licking the butter off.
They did a whole TikTok on it. It's hilarious.
That's awesome.
We'll have to pull it up and you'll have to watch it.
Yeah.
That stuck out to me from Trust Me. Christine needs to be patient, and hopefully that those women will wake up and forgive her one day. Yeah, I think so too. And honestly, if you can be patient with it, karma's kind of fun to watch come around. I feel like I'm kind of maybe in a little bit of watching some karma come around right now. And that I won't say that I don't enjoy the cheap seats watching it happen, because it's kind of fun to watch it happen after years of feeling like, is there ever going to be any justice for the injustice? So
there's going to be two groups of people there. There's going to be those that wake up and say, yeah, no, what she did was okay. We appreciate what she did. And then there's going to be the other group that's going to sit back and say, see, the prophets were right. They told us not to trust any outsiders. Why did we trust outsiders? Yeah. And so they're going to justify never to trust an outsider. They're only out to get you. And this is here just more evidence that they're trying to take the Lord's anointed people down. So yeah. So, and then those who were actually helped from it, who were included, are probably going to go, thank you so much for doing what you did. But all you did was get a prophet thrown in jail and break up a family. So yeah, there's two different camps in all of these groups, the blind believer and the people waking up to the truth. So
yeah. And unfortunately, I just posted that comment. I heard Julia may still believe in Warren Jeffs as the prophet. I mean, we just covered episode 4. So we just dropped that yesterday on our channel if you want to take a look at that. I think there's been an active attack on our channel of people reporting our videos. And so YouTube has been suppressing our videos and suppressing, we were demonetized and suppressed. And so now we've appealed and won that appeal. So our channel is restored, but meanwhile, our videos are still being suppressed. So if you haven't seen any of those, we did do some reactions to Trust Me, the False Prophet. So we just dropped number 4 yesterday.
Yeah.
What are you doing?
Again, thanks. The AUB phone tree is working just fine. So
I don't know that. Yeah, we have our ideas of who some of the people are, but the good thing is once you've been reported like that, and then they go in there and they manually do a review, those videos can never be tagged like that again. So yeah, so that's been very
a lot of work,
frustrating. Yeah, that's a lot of work to do that, and it's not like you make a ton of money doing it anyways. And so the little bit that you do make is super helpful. Like we were able to buy microphones, we were able to buy stuff like that for our studio. And so to have that level of like, I feel like we've been getting it from every angle lately, huh?
Yeah.
So, and I won't lie, there's days where I've thrown my hands in the air and got done. I don't want to do this anymore. This is too hard.
We're getting to some people.
Yeah.
So, because they want us to shut up and sit down, so they're doing their hardest. They're working their side, and we're working our side to keep ourselves talking. So, and communicating. I'm like, oh, apparently I'm saying some stuff that hurts. Telling some truths, and those truths are hurting the people. And so, yeah, there's some pretty good attacks. It's been great.
We haven't really talked a lot about it on our channel. I actually really didn't even want to bring it up because I appreciate, I see some of your comments. I appreciate your guys' support. But yeah, it's definitely, I feel like we have just been getting our asses handed to us from every angle. And so I did hit a point where I was just like, I didn't want to, I don't know if it's worth it. Is it still worth it to get out and talk about things? Is it worth it to expose things? And then reading some of my ex-husband's comments back, I'm like, I'm done with this. I'm not going to roll over, lay down and take it anymore. I'm going to just keep talking. And this is what we're going to do. And so you're going to see us a lot more probably. So, so yeah, thank you guys. We do appreciate all the extra support. We weren't really not going to talk about it. I feel now I feel kind of bad for talking about it, but thank you, Catherine Perry, for that. For that super chat. We appreciate that.
We didn't want to let them know that they were getting to us.
But it has.
We're like, really thanks.
Yeah,
we're making some waves. This is
somebody
awesome.
Says, well, your sister is back, so the haters have more to do. Yeah, her and I have been very closely communicating a lot lately, because she's been getting it too, and she's definitely in the throes of healing as well. She is like, she's tried to come over several times to do a live, and just she's in the thick of it right now. And I feel like we're at a different part of our healing where I am a people pleaser for sure. This is something that I'm working on. Again, I know this is one of my triggers, and I hate disappointing people and I hate hurting people. And so when people are coming at me like that, I tend to back up a little bit, but I think it just awakened something deeper inside of me and went, you want to dance? Let's dance. Let's get out there and go. And so, I don't think our channel is going to slow down anytime soon. And
nope.
I'm excited about that. But yeah, just, it definitely has kicked our butt. So, so apologies if this was talked about earlier, but Jaden Jeffs recently interviewed Addie McCall. Do you know her? Yes. So yes, we do know Addie. Her mom delivered our last baby. Her mom was my midwife and grew up with them on. Well, you did too. She was our midwife.
I know, but you know them.
Yeah.
I've met them.
Their entire house when they were little. Addie was probably a small baby.
Yeah.
So yeah, we do know them, and they're wonderful. I mean, her parents are wonderful. I've always very much loved her parents, and because there were some, I don't know, more healthy families than we grew up in. So, and our family, for my younger siblings, got better. They just kind of practiced stuff and said, that's not going to work too well on rearing children. So we messed this group up onto the next group. Yeah. We got 39 of them.
So
yeah. So no, Addie's wonderful. In fact, I even thought about asking her to come on our channel too. Again, we're not like super polished interviewers, but Addie would be fun because we could just chit chat, and she would be super fun too, just chit chat with. And so yes, she is wonderful, and her mom and dad I think her dad is probably one of the best men I've ever known. I would put him right up there in a top tier of polygamous men in my experience. So yeah.
We're back. We're back. We're just, it's like we're building our channel up again.
It almost feels like we have to start over a little.
We're kind of starting over. So we're back. We filed
we filed all the correct appeals with YouTube, and we won all of the appeals but one.
Yep.
And that one makes sense because it was part of the book club that we did, and there's a lot of dark stuff that went in on that last book club. And so I understand that last video, but yeah, we didn't know what was happening because we're not that versed, and so we didn't know what was happening. And so I was like, do people just not like our channel anymore? Like, do we not have anything that's going to be of use or help for anyone anymore? So I was definitely taking it very personally because I thought maybe we just didn't have anything relevant to say anymore, only to find out that, our channel's being suppressed and we were demonetized. And so
the people were working behind the scenes. So we're like, oh, okay, we'll get this all fixed and start to build back up again. So we are saying stuff that's chapping people's hides. So, okay, let's do this.
And talking to my daughter too, because she has, she's very well versed. I mean, she's made all of she can retire very easily and very comfortably, and she's done everything online. And so talking to her too, she's like, Mom, you guys are talking about very polarizing things. And she goes, but you are helping a lot of people too, but maybe move more towards healing instead of more towards some of the darker things of polygamy. So we're trying to adjust like what it is. So we've been having a lot of sit down together, just the two of us, because it's us. What is it that we want our channel to look like? What is it that we want? What is it that we bring to this space? And are we healing with people? And it's funny because in the middle of being demonetized and doing all of this stuff, I have people like Christine Brown and Wooly who we're going to dinner with her, and we're going to dinner with some other big, huge influencers. And so I feel like, wait a second, all of these positive, happy things are happening. And yet all of these wipe your feet out from under you things are happening. And it's like, what in the hell? It feels so back and forth. But I think it's really hard too when it's people that I genuinely love and care for. And that's where it gets the hardest. Okay, probably said too much right there, but let's see. Thank you, Marie. I appreciate that. It says your words are so worth it. You're a shining light in some very dark places. So that's where some of those attacks come from. Just turn up that light brighter. Yeah. So I appreciate that. I was happy for you, and then Mel scoffed at me, so I'll have to reconsider. So Jay Patel has been from the very beginning of our channel, has always been such a huge supporter of us. And we really, truly thank you for that. You have given us some good laughs and good sense of humor from day one of our channel. We have a deep, deep appreciation for you. Thank you.
And she was scoffing at the mere fact that somebody would call him Grandpa. It's like
that we call Joe Grandpa.
Yeah. Oh, you were just like, yeah, that would never happen type thing. So it's like when I say, oh, you were so obedient today, and you would probably have the same.
See, I missed scoff. That. I wasn't scoffing at that one. I was laughing at something else that you said. I missed the whole grandpa thing. Yeah. Yep. Thank you. We love when you have people on. Stop talking down to my friends about interviewing. You don't deserve it. Y'all are fantastic. Well, and actually we're trying to set up. So the way that we have our studio set up is it's a bedroom. It's our son's old bedroom. Right. But we're trying to come up with a way to like maybe put some couches or something back here, because when Christine and David come, then I want it to be more, we were thinking about having them come into the studio and have it be more like chit chatty. I don't know. We'll see. Unless they want to do over a live stream. I don't know. Yeah. But I do appreciate having just the chats. I love it. So, thank you for this one. Just open every video with thank you for letting us know you believe we are prophets by persecuting us and keeping on doing the incredible work you're doing.
Oh,
that's funny. That's hilarious. Yeah, so it's definitely this has been, I think, one of the greatest transformational times that I have had personally, which is why I want to openly talk about a lot of it, because healing can be messy sometimes. It can look dark. You can see people, me personally, I backed away from the camera for a while. I felt like I don't even know what to do. I did a video on a brain dump because I felt like I didn't even want to make videos anymore. And I was almost to the point where I'm like, I don't even know how to start a video or what to make. I don't even want to make the content anymore because I was feeling so, and there's so much more to everything that's going on that we haven't really even talked about here, which we probably won't, but, it's been a lot. So, yeah, but we're working with a couple of our other siblings that I think we are going to see what we can do about getting, some of our siblings to come on here, some that are supportive and some that are wanting to see us, that
have gone through similar healing processes that we have. So,
oh my gosh, this is hilarious. We should do this. Please tell me you have daughter and granddaughter of the prophet t-shirts. We do not, but that would be funny. But sorry, Carrie, what did you say? I want to make sure I recognize that.
Yep.
What did you say?
No, just that we've got siblings that we've gone through therapy, we've gone through healing process, and they have too, and we all went through similar way of growing up and then similar healing processes, and so I've got siblings that know how to talk very well about the healing processes that we went through, and so would love to have a sit down conversation with, hey, what did we do? What's the healing processes that we went through? Things like that. So,
and so
how have you changed?
So we're working on that right now with a couple of our siblings who want to see healing happen too. You should go on Mormon Stories. Did you hear about him being sued by the church? We did. We actually applied for Mormon Stories. I think that was
at the same time
that we were being demonetized, and that we were like, I felt like this huge rejection, and we have not actually reached out to too many people. People have reached out to us because I've definitely have some worthiness things going on that we're working through. Gosh, the weather here is crazy and my hair is so staticky. And so Mormon Stories kind of got back to us and was like, thanks for your application. We'll let you know. And then the whole lawsuit thing happened. And so that kind of took a little blow to, and so we applied. We don't know. We'll see what happens there.
We do need to hand out nefarious swag bags.
Yeah.
So that would be good.
That is another thing that we were talking about, because we have our mugs that, let's see if I can get that on there. We have our mugs that we drink from while we're doing the show. We're trying to create a couple other things that we want to work with. So yeah, we're thinking about doing lives and maybe doing giveaways during our lives for sure. And she did get a kick out of this. I'm sure Christine will get a kick out of the Nefarious Revelations t-shirt. She did get a good kick out of it. Did you wear it to dinner?
No, heck no. You wouldn't let me wear something like that to dinner. I had to be dressed up.
Were you dressed up? Oh
yeah.
Yeah.
I couldn't be the bum at dinner with a hoodie on.
No, just your t-shirt. I thought maybe you wore the t-shirt. So yeah,
I had a dress shirt.
We're going to do some of those. Again, somebody says email them again. Yeah, because we emailed them literally right before the huge lawsuit came out. And John immediately responded to us, and he was really great at first. And then the lawsuit came out, and then we got an email back from them saying, sorry, we're not, we'll get back to you, basically. Have you thought about being on the Trust Me podcast? I have not heard of that one. I don't know what that one is. I'd have to take a look at that. I don't know what podcast that is. Did you just say you need to word? Yep. You know a guy for that. Yeah. That's funny. That is something that we have been working on, is our wordiness. Give your guests a nefarious swag bag. Yep. We're definitely working on some of that, and our mods. So one of our mods has been out of town. The other one is, we got a couple new mods. And so, yeah, we're building back. We're definitely not going anywhere. It's just, how do we want to navigate? Which direction do we want to go? And how do we want to, what is it that, what are our goals with our channel, and how do we want to show up?
Yeah. Expand into.
Yeah. In this space, how do we want to show up, and who do we want to, how do we want to bring ourselves out into the world?
Victoria's I think Victoria made it downstairs into the decorations.
I actually have no idea where that doll went.
Or it's probably hidden somewhere around the house. My son probably has it ready to
scare a baby with or something.
Yeah.
So we're going to go for about 10 more minutes, and then we have a little guy's baseball game. Baseball season has been so much fun this year. He is just the little kid. He's 7, and he just was so super offended when he was asked if he plays T-ball. He's like, absolutely not. T-ball is for babies. I play baseball. And so we have a baseball game tonight to go to. So we'll go for about 10 more minutes.
So it's Christine's daughter.
Christine's daughter.
Daughter. Okay. So that would be interesting.
Oh, yeah, it's Christine Marie daughter.
Oh yeah.
Okay. So when Christine Marie reached out to us when we very first started the channel, and we were able to connect with her, she actually did tell me that her daughter was yeah. And I never reached out to do that, because I was, this is something that we've done part-time, that we have healed through a lot of stuff, huh?
Mm-hmm.
And so I forgot about that, but yes, I will reach out to her again. What?
Yeah. There's somebody just mentioned that we have a Buddha.
Yeah.
So, and we haven't studied any of, we got overwhelmed with the dogmas that we grew up with. So we haven't studied any other religion. The kind of cool thing is I got that my little brother took us up to the Buddha gardens up in Montana. So it's the Garden of 1,000 Buddhas. It's a peaceful place. And this is what he was liking, to be able to go out in nature. That's what we were always talking about, that when you're out in nature, you can feel God
spiritually.
Yeah. And so we went up to the Buddhist gardens, and we're just trying to help them out. And
yeah,
I thought that was a cool Buddha.
So we bought that at the Garden of 1,000 Buddhas.
Yeah. And
and it's a beautiful, that day we went to the Garden of the Buddhas. Then we went to like 4 different Catholic churches.
Well, St. Ignatius. So
yeah, drove around the valleys in Montana and just went to a bunch of different churches. So that's where we bought that.
But we haven't joined any of them. No. So I mean, I've walked through the gardens. It has a lot of good sayings that I agreed with and stuff like that. So from what I've read, just by going to the gardens, the teachings seem a lot lighter than the ones I grew up with.
Tend to align a little bit more with what we, with how we, and the Garden of 1,000 Buddhas in Montana is beautiful. It's in the Bitterroot Valley, and it's outside. Isn't it outside of Missoula?
Yeah, but Bitterroot Valley's.
Is that not considered the Bitterroot Valley?
That's not the Bitterroot Valley.
Well, it's up there by Missoula.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, thank you.
A couple hours north.
Jody says, you have helped me too, and that is okay to not be okay. Yeah, thank you. You guys are watching us in real time come up against a lot of things that we thought we had already healed through, things that we didn't even know we needed to heal through, new wounds that have popped up. You guys are watching it firsthand. And we want to be as real and transparent with things as we possibly can, and then still respect people that we love. So that's where we're always trying to navigate. I totally get why you're not looking into faith. There's no God or sin in Buddhism, so it might be interesting for you to read about. Yeah, definitely. It's something that we've dabbled in a little bit here and there. But yeah, that's where we got that one for we have actually 2 of them that we bought. Mostly we bought them to support the little store that was there too. We bought actually quite a few things from them to financially support the store.
Yep.
They have a bunch of
the community
handmade items and stuff that they have there. And it's wonderful. And then this cute little thing right here is our grandbaby's plastered hands. That is both little girls holding hands. And I just love it so much. And I don't have a stand for it, but it's there.
We did it mostly to expose, so our children could see all different types of, that there were many different choices in there. We took them down to the Festival of Colors too. I can't remember.
We've done the Holly Festival of Colors here in Utah. We've done that every year. We've really tried to expose our kids to a lot of different beliefs,
ideas, and that there's good people everywhere. So
right. I don't think they have a website. I don't know if they do or not. How is your mom's lawsuit? It is coming along. I mean, it's just my dad's doing everything he can to drag his feet. And that's really the only thing I can say about it. Honestly, it's been very slow.
It's coming along at the speed of prophecy. So prophets involved. So things are just going to
it's been very
dragged
slow
along and get changed as things don't turn out the way he wants. So it's a process.
Right.
Prophesying. So
one of the only things I miss about being a part of a high controlled religion is the community and the sense of belonging aspect. And your channel, especially the lives, give me a little taste of that. So thank you. Yeah, thank you. That's one of the reasons we love doing the lives too. We love answering the questions. And obviously we have no problem answering the harder questions about us. I just have tried to be a little bit careful navigating through some of the trickier things with family members who are immediately involved in some of them. And thank you for sharing with us and helping so many by continuing to speak your truth. Looking forward to all you do and you always have a lot of support to balance out the tough stuff. Y'all are awesome. I know. And honestly, we think about that too. And that's why I'm like, this last month especially has been definitely challenging because I hate disappointing people, but it is what it is. And at this point, it's not about disappointing people or making people proud or anything. It's just about what is true for us and what is not true.
And if we look on the bright side of it,
I swear you're going to bust out into song right there.
No, we could.
Monty Python song.
I'm so glad you know that.
Always look on the bright side of life. It's one of Corey's favorite songs.
I have corrupted you. But on the bright side of it is we have grown. We are that people that we didn't ever think were watching us are starting to watch us. So we're getting pushed out pretty big. Yeah. And so now
people from our childhood that I did not I almost forgot they'd left the AUB way 100 years ago. And
your childhood when you're married to the first husband. So he even got all of a sudden we got noticed by him. So I can only imagine we're getting noticed by hundreds of other people within the AUB. So
yeah. And that is one of the reasons why it's like, I'm getting hit from every angle. My ex-husband wants to come into my comment section. Okay, we're just going to address this.
It's fun.
Oh yeah. And so we're just going to keep talking about it.
But yes, a lot of people that have left the AUB from our childhood have been reaching out to you. So we're reaching out.
Appreciative of it and very and I think that's why I really don't take so many things personally because most our deepest critics have been very close to us, very closely related to us. And I don't take a lot of that personally. It has nothing to do with me. It has everything to do with whatever it is that person's going through. My problem is not picking it up and not trying to fix it or help them with it. That's where I get stuck.
Yep.
I love that. My mom is Thai. I love that you have those Buddhas back there. thinking of maybe getting my mom to the garden you're talking about. She would love it. It is so
it
beautiful.
Is
it is very, very beautiful. You might be able to Google it. I'm sure it might be.
Garden of 1,000 Buddhas in Montana is what it's called. So yeah, it was a pretty wonderful place.
Thank you for remembering this. This is hilarious. The guy who flipped a coin against Joe is definitely watching. That is funny that you would remember that. Thank you. And maybe you know who that person is. And I'm curious if that person's watching too. I'm sure that you're probably correct. So for those that don't know the story, when I was younger, I was 15 and I was already in a relationship with a guy that I swore I was going to marry. I'm deeply in love with this kid, as deep as you can get at 15, right? And my ex-husband and his best friend at the time decide they are interested in me, but they both like me, right? And so how's that going to come out? So they flipped a coin and my ex-husband won. Mm-hmm. So that's how, but I was really good friends with his other friend, but I mean, as good of friends as you can be at 15. He's 12 years older than me. So I was 15 and he would have been 27 at the time. And my ex-husband would have been 23 at the time.
He might be watching, but he's not raising the hand saying I'm the one that lost the bet.
No.
So,
and my ex-husband's over here raising.
Yeah. I'm the one that won the bet.
Yeah.
And she's telling what went on, but I'm going to explain it from my point of view. And so, yeah, I'm like, all right.
Yeah.
Well, raise your hand there, big guy. So
enjoy. That's funny that you would remember that. Thank you, Jessica. That's hilarious. Because now my ex-husband's about to be 60 this year. And one of the comments that was made just cracked me up. And I just want to acknowledge the comment because it was so funny. And because I made these response videos and somebody says in one of the comments, at this point, he's got to just be fighting spell check. And I just had to laugh so hard at that because that is just so funny. Thank you for that good comment. I appreciated it. And there's probably 5 or 6 more comments that I haven't quite decided if I'm going to make a response back to. But there's still quite a few of them out there that I haven't. Most of his comments get folded. TikTok folds them because they're too aggressive. And so they get blocked. And so if you go and you look for them, you have to go into the folded section to see them. Which is what's funny to me. So I don't know. The other night we were just, after talking to my son and hearing some of the stuff that he said to my son, I'm just like, I'm done sitting in a corner. My children, and I appreciate all you guys who have reached out and concerned for our kids. Our youngest together is 27 years old. Our oldest is 34. We have really raised them their whole lives to learn how to heal through things. I'm not worried about my children at this point. Other than having my children see me stand up for myself. We have done so much to try to nurture that relationship so that they could have a relationship with their biological father. And at every turn we get a knife in the kidneys. Oh, it's been painful. So, and so that's where some of that comes from. So, okay. Well, thank you guys so much for the live. We really, truly appreciate it. We're going to be dropping the 3rd part of our 27 rules of polygamy, 27 rules of celestial marriage, right? We're going to be dropping that video. And then we do have Corey's mom coming to stay with us for 10 days. She's going to be down from Montana, staying with us for the next little while. But we are still going to be working on going live. We actually, the lives refresh us too. And they remind us of why we like doing this. So we appreciate that too. And then, again, follow us on all of our other social media. We've got Instagram, Catherine. TikTok, Facebook. It's all Notes to Self 444. If you have any questions or anything that you want to see us get back to. All right.